Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to a model kit review, and today it's not Gunpla for a change. This is a Zoid, as you can see right there. As for the exact Zoid this is the high-end master model Wild Liger, that is HMMW001 from the anime ZOIDS Wild. And of course, it pretty much goes without saying, but in case you don't know, this is a kit by Kotobukiya. Licensed by Takara Tomy, by the way. So the first thing I'm going to say about this kit is I put it off for so long before building it because I was kind of like, I built a Zoid before. That of course is the Liger AB, which is quite a few years old. There's a lot involved in that build. I had to glue a lot of parts to make sure it held together while posing, and it just took a long time, and a lot of the plastic felt a little bit on the old side. This, however, is completely different. This didn't take all that long to build. It looks fantastic. The plastic is a whole different ballgame to what we would have seen before, and I am blown away by the design and the detail on this kit. A lot less labor intensive for a lot more payoff. And what can I say? I might as well just get right on into the review. As usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those absolutely awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan. So if you do want one of your own, I'll drop a link down there in the description, as well as a link to the Fang Tiger, which is pretty much the same as this, just with lighter armor in yellow and also looks savage. Now let's get right into it. So before we get into the model kit itself, let's take a quick look at the box. Once again, there's the front of the box. You've seen it already. Absolutely killer box art on there, by the way. Flipping around to the first side, and it shows us some of what's going on in here. We can move the eyes. We've got some joint parts for using stuff that's not in this box. We've got a fully painted little figure of Arashi, which is awesome. And finally, we've got that Zoid core. Around on the other side, we've got some more eye action with that big blazing flame for the eye. A front and back picture of it with the armor on and the armor off, as well as some of the other extras, including the Zoid key, alternate head for Arashi, and those big old claw weapons. Now let's check out the Liger itself. So getting right on into the Wild Liger, and there it is out of the box, just snapped together with a little bit of cleanup and some panel lining using the usual panel lining markers. Besides that, this is essentially what you get out of this box, and this is crazy. The build is fun, it looks awesome, and I'm way more impressed than I thought I'd be by this. So this isn't the first time I've built a Liger. I've also built this one back here, which is the Liger AB. This one is quite old in comparison. It does feel, how do I put it, more serious than the Wild Liger right here, but I guess that makes sense. Size-wise, it is a little bigger than the Wild Liger, so if you're used to the older style Zoids, like this one right here, then I guess the Wild Liger may look a little bit smaller. I'll also mention that the scale is completely different. You can see the pilot inside of the Liger AB there, and this is the pilot of the Wild Liger, so you can kind of see the difference there. This one is 1/72nd scale as far as I know, and this one is 1/35th scale. Also, for those of you who usually come for the Gundam kits, there is a high-grade Gundam in comparison, so these are fairly gargantuan. There's a side comparison. Next up then, there is a master-grade Gundam, and flipping them around to the side as well, so you can check that out. And finally, there it is compared to a perfect grade. So now, it kind of looks like it can be the Gundam's pet. Come on, don't get caught up in there. Come around. And there we go. So I guess it's about time to rewind back to the build of this thing. I enjoyed it so much. As for the Liger AB, which I spoke about before, I did like it a lot, but it feels old. A lot of the plastic doesn't fit as well as modern kits do. You need a little bit of glue or it will fall apart while posing, but what you get in the end looks phenomenal. This kit right here is definitely a lot more, how could I say, beginner friendly. It's not a beginner kit when it comes to detail and level. This is not like a Gundam Build Divers kit. This is still a serious HMM kit. So basically, first off, you build the inner frame, which looks fantastic. Unlike the other Ligers, this is based on a lion or tiger's skeleton, and it looks so cool. I actually prefer this than the finished kit fully armored up. It looks awesome. There's so much nice, minute detail on all of the surfaces. And the plastic here, the gray plastic, is phenomenal. The detail looks great molded into it. It cleans up so well. It catches the light very nice in that kind of semi-matte finish way. And the whole thing looks so cool in that skeletal tiger glory. As for adding the armor on, it's very simple. It just snaps on over that skeletal inner frame very simply. I will mention that this plastic isn't as premium feeling as the inner frame's plastic. It's more of that classic Zoid sort of feel. Honestly, I find it kind of hard to describe it. It's harder, marks more, and just feels like it's not as dense and buttery. But on the whole though, the whole thing is phenomenal. I just love the inner frame so much in this thing. So damn cool. But anyway, here we are back to it all armored up, and once again it does look very nice. There's nothing loose or nothing awkward on this kit, and nothing feels like it's going to fall off. This thing is so poseable and so cool, and they really went for that lion style articulation and style and wild feeling, I guess. It's just so, I guess, anatomical compared to an older Zoid. It's more actual animal than robot. So moving on to the full 360 spin before we move on to the accessories, and there's a lot going on in the plastic here. We've got two shades of metallic gold and metallic silver. Those are the typical injection metallic plastics that could look a little bit better, especially if you painted them up. We also have some transparent, almost candy gummy looking red on this, which is really eye-catching. Then we have that very nice grey plastic of the inner frame, and finally then the white and the blue of the outer armor. I haven't detailed all of this up, I've just panellined some of it, but this has so much detail. It's deceptively simple looking at first glance. So jumping on into the accessories, and there's the HMM Wild Liger with absolutely everything that it comes with. And as you can see, this doesn't come with a whole lot, really. So what we get in here is just some effect parts for the eyes, the painted figure with alternate head, and some water slide decals. We also have this thing too, which is the Zoid key. So in case you haven't noticed it yet in this thing's design, that right up there on the top of this thing's head is, well, that is a saddle. So that little Arashi guy, he just pops on up here like so, and as far as I know, there isn't really any kind of like connecting or clipping mechanism. I could be wrong, but he just seems to hang out in there, so if you give it a old shake or something, he may end up falling over. Like, he's got no hole in his butt or anything like that to attach, so it seems like he just slots in there. We also have the Zoid key right here, which I left on the runner, and that is because I was afraid I'd lose it. There is meant to be two colors, this and gold, but as far as I can see, there was nothing in the instructions telling me to cut out a gold one, so that went into the bin. No, wait a minute, it's written there in Japanese. You can use T1, Matawa. U2 too, so yeah, pay attention to that. Also, I must have missed this page over here where it says take 034 for attaching on other things, I guess with a 3mm peg. But yeah, goodbye to them. So I will mention that the Zoid key down here is tiny, so taking my manly pink tweezers of precision. Oh, you're gonna try and finesse this into the hole. Oh man, I've got the worst shaky. Hey, it's in. Oh, it's out. Okay, trying that another time. Come on. Whoa, come on. In you go. Seriously, does that just rest in there? That's all? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so as far as I can tell, that just rests in there like so. That is all. So if you pop the seat up, that's just gonna fall out. Nah, I'm leaving that out. So anyway, now it's time for Wild Blast mode. So we've got some effect parts for using with the Wild Liger, and we've got an effect head for using with the lad here. So that is what Mr. Pikachu Tail Head looks like with his normal head. And there he is with the alternate head where he's cosplaying Sans or Blackrock Shooter. Let's get him on. So in order to use the effect on the Liger, you need to flip his eye around. In order to do this, you take off its head and flip it so the hole is forward like that. I did not take off the head armor because it feels like I'm going to break something every time I do that. So I just got a file, jammed it in there, and turned his eye forward. Anyway, once that hole is aligned forward like this, you pop the effect in like that, and that actually looks quite impressive. Let's get Arashi up there. And yeah, all jokes aside, that does look quite effective. That is a nice blue effect part. I will mention the plastic here is extremely hard, so make sure to use a robust nippers while snipping that. But yeah, that looks cool. And finally then we've got a small little sheet of water slide decals. These are very nice. Apparently they are graffiti style. They look pretty cool, especially the Arashi one. The Liger heads look cool too. And that Freedom one looks suspiciously Pokemon to me. But anyway, let's move on. So anyway, moving on to the build and the articulation here. This is quite robust. A lot of the build is based off of polycap joints, which does mean there is a little bit of a spongy springiness to some of it. Some parts might kind of wiggle out the more you kind of play around with it, like this one back here. But besides that, they do hold up pretty well, especially because this is quite lightweight compared to your average Liger. I assume I've only built one other one and I'm basing it completely on that. But anyway, let's work from the head back. We've got an opening and closing jaw, and not just the bottom jaw. That goes for the top jaw too. So bottom one opens top one opens up the way, so we've got a nice wide spread to the mouth there. The roar cannon inside of its mouth that can move up and down. The main style armor on the sides of the head that can pivot there, pivot here, and pivot there. And we've got an upper pivot here too, which allows you to get quite a bit of movement out of that and keep it out of the way of the neck articulation. Inside the neck, we've got a polycap style hinge here and here. Both of those are aligned to move up and down. And then the neck section itself is double jointed with side to side movement. While the head's off, I might as well mention there is a Zoid core. This little segment is very nice in grey, gold, and blue. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Zoid core is smaller in this kit. And I was going to say to reflect the change in scale, but wait, if it was the same across all Zoids, it'd be bigger, wouldn't it? Anyway, now with the head back on, there it is all the way down, all the way up. We've got side to side pivot, and then the turn side to side. Lost some armor. We have a whole lot going on at the waist here, so there it is crunched to one side, there it is crunched to the other, so that is very cool. Up here we also have some forward and back, I guess an ab crunch of sorts. This continues to the back, we've got this forward and back motion, and we also have a little bit of side to side and a bit of rotation. Do we have rotation up front? No, just back here, but a little bit limited. We have a very nice joint in here for its shoulder section, which can allow it to pivot forward and then back like so inside the body. That then connects to this joint, which can raise up and down like so, simple and effective. Next we have what I can only describe as the elbow on this. There it is stretched out, there it is bent up, and this is double jointed. At the ankle here we've got full rotation, there's the full extension, full flexion, and then we've side to side pivot. Finally then, as for the toes on this, they can only move in and out like so. Still quite expressive though, but I would have liked a little bit up and down. As for the hip section, same joint here, giving us some forward and back. Again, similar joint here, allowing that up and down. Two joints here for the bend at the hind leg, so there it is all the way flexed. There it is all the way extended. Then down the foot, it's all the same, so the extension, the flexion, rotation, side to side pivot, and those toes spreading out, funny like that. The tail on this is a little bit short, but it is fantastic. Side to side pivot there. Each one of these joints features rotation and a bend, so this is extremely expressive. I love this tail right here. All the radiator sections on this, they can flip out like this, back in. We've got this treble thruster section around on the booty. These side sections can pivot up like so. Those are in gold plastic. Actually, pop this off to show that we have a nice clear green light piping section in here. So let's get a light in behind that so you can see that it does shine on through. So when it comes to the weapons, the main event is the Tategami claw up here. This actually features a whole lot of impressive articulation, so it can bend out at like a whole bunch of points. I'm not even going to try and count how many. It can then swing up over the head like so. The central one can extend like that, and these outer ones can spread out. However, I will mention that these are a little bit on the fragile and kind of flimsy side, so I would recommend cementing that particular seam right there. But yeah, I guess that's it for the articulation. It's pretty damn good, and as for some poses, I'll do them in the spins in the verdict right now. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I enjoyed this kit so much more than I thought I would, and I did think that I was going to enjoy it. I love the Liger AB, but the old tech means you need to put a lot more extra effort into it in that kind of old school model kind of way. That isn't necessarily the case here. Whether you're a beginner or you're an expert model kit builder, you'll find something to enjoy here. You don't really have to do any extra work like glue, paint, modification, or anything like this. It just fits together perfectly out of the box. The inner frame blows me away. It's so cool. It's a mechanical tiger slash lion slash Liger skeleton, and that is so unique. This has taken the more anatomical animal route than the big old animal-like robot that's more robot than animal. This may not be for everyone, it may not be for classic Zoid fans, but if you just love model kits, want something a little bit different, but want something modern, fun to build, and is great out of box, I highly recommend this kit. If you've never tried a Zoid style model kit, it's hard to say whether or not I recommend it, because you may want the classic Zoid experience as opposed to this Neo Zoid experience. They even kind of let you know that this is a different kind of Zoid by its model number. this isn't just your standard HMM, this does start with the model number W, and that's why it's W001, but hey, if you've liked what you've seen in this review, I recommend grabbing one. I want to try out the next one. That, of course, is the Fang Tiger, I think. If you want one of those as well, I'll drop the link down there in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more model kit reviews, and I'll see you next time. In case someone's curious about the whole action-based thing, I modified this little peg that comes with a standard Bandai action base to be circular because the Liger here does have an action base hole, but it's an odd shaped hole, like a 4 or 5 millimeter hole, just in case you're curious. As always, I cannot end this video right here without thanking each and every one of you guys for watching this video, for dropping a like, subscribing, and of course to each and every one of you that supports me over on the channel memberships or over on Patreon, like Craig Jerry, Tyler Sanders, the ambassador for Asymmetric Cats, Caleb Engelhart, Sean T, and Brian Perez.